Ooh, suddenly soundtracks are here to provide you. Suddenly soundtracks will show you care. Oh, be more the soundtrack inside you with sweet understanding. Oh, with sweet understanding. With sweet understanding. Soundtracks are your friend.
Okay, here we go. Bada bing, bada boom. Welcome everybody to Suddenly Soundtracks, the show where we judge a movie solely based on the soundtrack that it provides. And here we are going through Sing Street, one of the most solid soundtracks I've ever covered here on this show. Oh, wow. Fuck you, Max. Yeah, it's great.
Excuse me, Chris, we have a young individual with us. Let's watch our language.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, come on.
Don't worry. It's fine.
It's all good. It's all good. I'm going to get to that individual last, but first, and certainly not before we get into the stuff we have to announce, Max, I'm going to introduce everybody on panel first. Yep. Kristen, you love Sing Street. Why do you love Sing Street so much? And when did you first see it?
When it came out. Because I'm a huge John Carney fan. I think he's just genius. I love Once. It's one of my favorite anything of all time. Like, so good. And so when I saw that he had another one coming out, I was like, okay, well, it's not even a question to watch it or not. And it ended up just being almost a perfect experience, right? You watch it and you leave feeling like every emotion under the sun. And for a movie to do that when it's framed as like a teen romance movie is something really special. So yeah, we'll talk about a lot of this later, but yeah, it's just it's just really like a perfect encapsulation of both the journey of a young person, but also like just the journey of every person.
110%. I'm going to go over to Jen Kemp. Jen, you love Sing Street. I know that I asked you to be on to replace Paul was originally supposed to announce to be on, but I thank you so much for doing this with us. What do you think of Sing Street? Did you see it before I invited you?
Oh, I absolutely saw it before you invited me. Absolutely, yeah. Sing Street is one of those movies where it feels like it's kind of a lightning in a bottle situation of if you've seen it, you love it and you praise it, but unfortunately it feels like there's still people out there that don't know it exists. So I'm glad that we're doing this and hopefully get the word out a little bit more, because I feel like it was really big that one year and then it's kind of died down, and hopefully with the Broadway musical it's going to start climbing back up again. But yeah, it's like Kristen said, it's just one of those great coming of age tales that speaks to both the adolescent and the adolescent within the adult and everything. So just like Once, it's a little bit brighter and a little bit more catchy and poppy and 80s, which is always just a banger. So yeah, it's one of those soundtracks that just makes you feel good. And I think that's something that everybody needs right now.
Yeah, Burrs. Tim Franco, I know, Tim, you love Sing Street. This was actually your request for us to do Sing Street. First and foremost, you put this on my radar. Why do you love Sing Street so much, and why did you want to cover it?
Well, I mean, obviously the music is great, so that was the main reason for wanting it to be on this show. But I do think it needs to be seen by more people. I mean, I just think it's kind of underseen. But yeah, I mean, like everyone, like Jen and Kristen said, I mean, it's a great story of growing up. It's not only just like a love story, but it's like a story of like friends. It's a story of like a brother to brother connection, and it's a story about, you know, following your dreams and taking the risk to go do something that you really want to do, and that's what it's all about. And kind of the songs like take you through that journey, which is incredible. And I'll say, you know, it was snubbed out of getting an Oscar nomination.
Yeah.
Did you really have to give two
Should have had
nominations?
multiple.
Did you have to give two nominations to La La Land? Come on, get out of here with that bullshit.
Well, I know it lost a lot.
Stole my line, Tim.
Oh, this is infinitely better than La La Land. I have issues with La La Land. This if this La La Land. Holy shit!
You couldn't
Before I go to you,
drive it like you stole it a nomination. Get out of here.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that at all.
It's a bomb. Before I go to you, Max, I'm going to go to you, and then you can go through the stuff. But first, I'm going to go to Max Bartos. Max, this is the first time you're here on the channel. I know you're a friend of Maxwell's, and he got us in contact. What is it like performing this show? Why do you love this show so much? I know you're in it. You performed it. So, what are your thoughts on Sing Street itself, and when you were first introduced to it?
So as you said, I'm part of the original Broadway cast of Sing Street, which is still mind blowing for me to actually say that sentence. But no, I actually watched it for the first time as an in-flight movie in like 2016. I was flying back from London, I think. And as Go Now started playing, I just looked around the airplane and everybody around me was crying. And I was like, oh.
Oh, God.
And then, me and the rest of the cast of the show, we're just, one big family. And it's just so awesome, to be able to like walk into work every day and like see them. It's just like literally the most fun thing in the world, because we did a lab in August, and then we did an off-Broadway run about a year ago, like around this time. And then we found out we were transferring to Broadway, which is still like, I'll still have to pinch myself to believe that it's true, because I'm actually the only under 18 person in the show. So I'm 17. And it's crazy. I played Darren, the film guy. My prop camera's up there, actually.
That's awesome, dude.
But, yeah.
Now, did you steal that, or did they let you take it?
No, they actually mailed it to me for Sing Street Grounded, the benefit that we did to support the Mayor's Fund, which was awesome.
Awesome.
Really cool.
We're going to get into the movie and the soundtrack after we go through a couple of notes. Max, before you get into the notes, let me know what you think of Sing Street when you first were introduced to it so much, and then go into show notes.
Call me Maxwell so it's clear.
Maxwell, Maxwell.
Yeah, I saw this movie in theaters in a distressingly empty Times Square movie theater on opening weekend. I remember it vividly. I fell in love immediately. As everyone has said, it's a beautiful coming of age story. I love the story of brothers, and I also love the like undercurrent of rage and the feeling of being an outcast and a misfit, and when you find who you are but no one else is accepting of that, and you know what, you say, screw it, I'm going to be myself, and if they don't accept it, I'm just going to chart my own course. So I find it very empowering in that regard. And the songs are incredible. And like Kristen said, I love John Carney. I'm a huge Once fan, both the movie and the stage musical, which I thought was a beautiful adaptation. And they did it again with Sing Street and knocked it out the park. So I've been a fan of this for a long time. And yeah, like Tim said, La La Land came out the same year and sort of stole its thunder. And I like La La Land. I'm not trying to shit on that, but that Sing Street was totally ignored by like Oscars, especially for original song, is a crime. So I'm here to avenge that crime. I have handcuffs. Just tell me who to put them on.
110.
It's all right. When it comes out on Broadway, it'll get all the Tonys, right? That's what I'm talking about.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Max, before we get into it, what's coming up here on the channel?
Yeah, we have a couple fun things coming up. So obviously, I'm sure you all know we did the Smash-a-thon this past weekend, the incredible 28-hour long nonstop live stream. In support of our friend Kevin Smets, who is suffering from colon cancer. We raised almost $20,000 for him. The outpouring of love and support was incredible. It's an experience I'm never going to forget, and I'm still tired. But one of the features we did was Family Feud Inner Geekdom Edition. We're going to be re-airing this on the network tomorrow night at our normal time of 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern. Myself and Rachel Cushing host this with an array of Schmodown competitors, and if you like seeing Mike Kalinowski get really unnecessarily angry, highly recommend you check it out, because he just about blows a gasket, and for me it was hugely entertaining to see him mad. Friday night, Merry Movie Squad continues with the double feature of Trading Places and Coming to America, 2 John Landis, Eddie Murphy movies that are holiday movies, whether you like it or not. Because it's a double feature, we're going to start that an hour earlier at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. That'll be really fun. Of course, Saturdays, I don't have the thumbnail, we do our Mandalorian recap show Saturdays at 12 Pacific, 3 Eastern. That'll be fun. And Sunday is really exciting. We normally do the Unwind, but for the first time, we have special guests for the Unwind. We're going to be joined by the movie gods.
Gods, yes, awesome. They are the gods. They're great.
Look, that was a Freudian slip. The movie guys, Paul Preston and Adam Witt. Both of them were instrumental in the bootleg Schmodown match we did as part of the Smash-a-thon. So I'm sure we're going to talk about that and all sorts of other fun stuff. And then Monday, we're watching Elf, 7 Pacific, 10 Eastern, one of my favorite holiday movies. That's going to be a blast. I also want to give a special shout out to all our Patreons, our executive producers, Brandy Parker and Ricardo Franco, and our Ruby tier producers, Kylie Petrano, Jake Berlin, Molly Damon, Brandon Buckingham, Kale the Youth Critic, Stephen White, Michael K., and Bedore. That list keeps growing and growing, and we, on behalf of all of us here at the PJCN, we send you our immeasurable thanks for your continued support. You could check out our Patreon. There might be a tier that's right for you. You get access to our Patreon-only Discord, bloopers and outtakes. We do a monthly AMA stream for patrons. If you give $10 and up, you get shouted out and a producer credit on all our episodes, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you for being a patron and your support. And, of course, we have a TeePublic shop. I don't have the art here, but we just released new Merry Movie Squad shirts and other stuff, so please check that out. Your support is hugely appreciated.
Yep, 110%, Max. Thank you so much for doing that. So, guys, before we get into this, Suddenly Soundtrack is taking a break next week for Thanksgiving, but we will be back, and this is important, for December 2nd, which is going to be a very special guest. Kevin Smets is going to be with us, who we did the charity event for, with his friends PLD and Sean. You guys are familiar with those, my brothers as well, along with Alonzo Duralde. The night before that, we will be doing Scrooge, a watch along with the other members of the channel. Also, that will be for Smets and for
and all Streamlabs donations we get during that watch along and that Suddenly Soundtracks will go directly to Kevin. And we'll be putting the GoFundMe link in the description and up on the screen for that as well.
And stay for after the show, because I'm going to play a clip of actually from Newsies where Kevin actually mentions that he really wanted to be on the show, and we're gonna. I made a little promo for it as well, so make sure to check that out.
Because lest you forget, our good friend Kevin Smets is in the original Newsies movie when he was a kid. So
that was great. Yep, it's great. It's great. It's all fun and games. So we're gonna go right into the show, guys. So basically, how the show it works is you all know the drill. Max Bartos. Max, you're just gonna go through this really quickly with me. It is this. Each soundtrack is reviewed track by track. Every panelist gives a score depending on how they feel about a certain song. We judge it by the soundtrack, not the film itself. Pretty easy, bada bing, bada boom. But then we go right into the scoring. The scoring is as follows. Hard Rockin', 6 out of 5. You only get 2 of them. Rockin', 5 out of 5. Download it, 4 out of 5. Shuffle it, 3 out of 5. One time listen, 2 out of 5. Skip it, 1 out of 5. It's pretty self-explanatory. We go through each song and we discuss it. And there's 6 of us, so what my system is probably going to be is the last person I go to will be the first one to discuss the track on the second outing. So we're going to go into the first track, and you know what? Kristen, since you're right there, and I'm going to just go in order, what is your thoughts on the Riddle of the Model?
Cool. Okay, so this one, I think, right, because it's the intro song, at least for me, right? It does exactly what you would expect it to do, right? It's like the first song for the band. It's like super fun and upbeat, but it also is full of like borrowed themes and cliches that a lot of bands, when they're first starting out, include in their music. But let's like be completely honest. Like, this is better than 99% of what any garage band is putting out there. So like, me saying that it's like what you would expect from a first outing of a garage band is maybe a little of a stretch, but I don't think that this song was made to be anyone's favorite song on the soundtrack, right? It was made to lay the groundwork so you knew where you were building onto. I will say that the synth in this is aggressively 80s.
It is very 80s. Holy shit.
Aggressively 80s.
And everyone here other than Max knows about the 80s because they're old and Max is a baby.
Oh no, trust me. I'm what we call an 80s addict. I think all my vinyl records are. I'm literally looking at the Joshua Tree right now.
Perfect.
That's one of my favorites. So good.
Oh yeah. By the synth, are you meaning the
There you go.
That's beautiful.
That's fun.
You know
I
what, Max?
love it.
You know what, Max? I'm actually gonna, as if it wasn't clear, I'm gonna refer to Max Bartos as Max and Maxwell as Maxwell. So, Max, what are your thoughts on this? This song starts like 20 minutes into the film, if not a little bit more. This isn't really like a conventional opening number of a musical. This is basically them shooting a movie, a music video. So, what are your thoughts on Riddle of the model?
Yeah, I mean, when we first started making it, it was in the show. It was so fun to like hear the song together and everything. It was really funny to see our keyboard, one of the keyboard guys in the show, because it's an actor musician show. So we all play our own stuff on stage. So the actor playing Eamon was trying to nail that. And by the third rehearsal, we got it down, and we were all so excited. But no, Riddle, I mean, it's not the opening number for the musical. It's about 20, 25 minutes into the show. And, you know, I think Riddle does exactly what it needs to do. It, you know, immediately transports you to the 80s. I know for me, it's one of my favorite songs because I'm on my knees the whole time, scooting around the stage, a 20-pound camera on my shoulder. But I really like it. It's I mean, I think the lyrics are so hilariously incredible. Even like the tone that Connor uses when he's singing with she's standing on the corner like an angel in disguise. But yeah, no, I think it's a really solid track, and it's just a lot of fun to hear.
Awesome. I can attest to that more. Tim.
Yeah, I think this song's great. If I had one complaint about this song, and it's not really a complaint, is that it's kind of short for me. I wish it was a little longer,
especially in the movie. Yeah.
But I understand why it's like that. But yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for like the quote unquote cheesy kind of like bad 80s new wave type stuff, and so I love it. I mean, I especially love the chorus bits. You know, where she's so indescribable. Yeah, it's so good. So good. I love it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's perfection. Jen.
Oh, yeah. This is probably the goofiest song on the soundtrack, but it does the job. It's a niche kind of song. And like Carney, he like said, like, this is like a hard thing to do because it is kind of a storytelling thing of it's their first shot out. It's clearly Duran Duran in style. And personally, 100%. I think the vocals are very like a cross between David Bowie and like David Byrne. And it's just like, it's super catchy, but yeah, it does kind of strike the tone of like falling into those traps as a new songwriter and everything, where the vocabulary is fascinating, but it's interesting to hear it from like a high schooler, because it's like using words like stipulation and indecipherable. It's like he's trying to like show off that he is like this, I'm this cultured songwriter and everything, because this is the song essentially they're throwing it together to impress a girl. So it's like, it's the fact that they made something so catchy so quickly, because they're like, we need to film this right away. It fits very well into the storyline. And yeah, it's clearly very 80s. But yeah, the one thing for me is it makes sense in the tone they're going for, but the Oriental riff at the end, it makes me cringe every time. Yeah. But that is a clear thing that happened.
The Broadway version.
Good, because that's the one thing that really... Because I'm loving the song, and then it gets to the very last one, and she does the little thing. I'm like, oh, every time it gets me.
Translate that well.
Every time. But that's something that was unfortunately very popular in the 80s, so it makes sense.
No, yeah, it fits with the time period for sure.
Yeah, we actually changed it to the she da 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 instead of I'm not going to do it because it's awful, but but yeah, I mean, it's interesting you bring up the Duran Duran, because we were actually talking to Gary, the composer of Sing Street, and he was telling us that when he was writing these songs, he was very in tune with who he was basing them off of. So Beautiful Sea is very based off of The Cure.
I could see that. Yeah.
And, you know, Riddle of the Model is so, her name is Rio and she.
Yeah. On the official soundtrack, Rio is right after it, which is smart, because I'm like, if you put Riddle first, it works.
Yeah, but in the movie, the brother's like feeding him songs.
Yeah. The show too. We right after Riddle, we do the Riddle transition, which is Rio. So it's really cool.
There you go.
Yeah. Max, well.
Yeah, I don't have too much more to add. Everyone sort of covered it. But I think this song is a perfect example of pastiche done right. The synth is fantastic, but I also love the bass guitar riff under it, and the way they work together is great.
Yeah.
And it like Jen was saying, I think, this is like, it's so catchy for the band's first song, but it also has all the trappings of a first song. Like, we're gonna go out there and we're gonna make something catchy and fun, and then like the artistic merit of it will come later, and it's perfect for that. It makes you want to dance. I love like the cheesy music video aspect of it. It's just fun. This is as a film is a different kind of musical because all the music is diegetic. It's not like they're stopping and singing like they're playing in the band. So it's not
it's happening in canon. Yeah.
Right. It's not a traditional opening number, but I still think it sets the tone of the kind of music that you're going to get. And it's like, oh, you like the 80s? We're going to give you 80s.
And you get a lot of the 80s. I want to echo a lot of what Max was saying and everybody was saying. This is a great, like, it might not introduce the movie, it might not introduce the soundtrack itself because there's 20 minutes of film before it, but it introduces the style of the piece and the style of the music. And when you have that and you introduce, it's a different sort of opening numbers and it's diegetic and it's in canon. So it does its job, and that's the rule for me, is that if a song does its job on the soundtrack and introduces you to the kind of music and arrangements that you're going to get further into the film, it's an automatic 5 out of 5 or rockin' for me, just because of that. Musically, it's probably one of the weaker songs for me, just because, again, there's so many good songs, and this is designed as a first song for a band. Really good first song for a damn band, if I can say so myself, in the most unrealistic of senses. So I'm going to go around, guys. Rockin', download it, shuffle it, one-time listen, or skip it. I'm going to go to you, Max Bartos. Max, what do you give this?
I'm a little bit biased.
A little bit.
But no, I gotta give it a rocking. Okay. I gotta save my hard rockins for some of my personal favorites.
Yep, you only get 2 of those, yeah.
Oh yeah. So but yeah, no, it's I think the song does exactly what it needs to do. It's placed in there perfectly, and yeah, it's rocking for me.
Fantastic. Tim.
Yeah, easily a rockin' song for me as well. I enjoy it immensely.
Kristen.
Yeah.
Kristen, your microphone?
Take your mics out.
Good.
That was great. That was amazing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Technical Difficulties.
My favorite. No one wants to hear my rating. No. Okay. So I just feel weird about giving everything a 5. So I gave it a 4, but it easily could be a 5. So it's just because I don't feel like anything is perfect, but this is perfect. So it's like a 4 in that it's not my favorite of the soundtrack, but it's still really amazing. Yeah. So yeah.
If this was anything on the soundtrack other than what it needed to do and the responsibilities it held, it would have been a download because it just had so much going for it in that sense.
Yeah.
Jen.
Yeah, similar to Kristen, I think in terms of my enjoyment, the scale as we go forward here, it's going to be a download. I would say it's a rockin', except I hit that final riff and then it goes right down to or download for me. But yeah, it is a great song, and on any other situation, it probably would be a rockin'. But for now, it's a download. All
right, Max, I'm going to ask you your score, bud.
Me?
Yep, Burs.
Okay, Maxwell.
Oh, Maxwell, yeah.
I'm in the same boat as Christian and Jen, and so I had to grade Sing Street on a Sing Street curve because I could really give every song a 5 and then 2 6s to be happy because there's no misses in this film or the stage show for that matter. Much like when we did Hamilton in July, right before the pro shot dropped, I'm like, I got to grade this on the Hamilton curve because otherwise I'm giving out 5s like I'm tipping bellboys at a hotel, right? You get a 5, you get a 5, you get a 5, you get a 5. So I give it a download it. And I think the point about the sort of awkward cultural appropriation bit at the end is a point worth taking. And that is also partly why I give it a 4. But still, a download it is still a great grade.
Yes, and Max, well, since you went last, I'm going to give you the first option to go first. What are your thoughts on the second track, Up?
It's funny. So if I'm not mistaken, and Max might be able to correct me, but when they were putting together the cast recording for Sing Street, Up was the first single you guys put out, right?
Yeah, it was. We did 2 recording sessions. The first one we did was we did Up, which of course I did acoustic, and I sang the choruses on. They were like, they had me stay for an extra like hour after everyone had left, and they were like, okay, yeah, so like, can you sing the high choruses? I was like, sure. So, but no, I mean, it was the first single we dropped on the Cast album, and then we did Drive It Like You Stole It. And no, just doing that song, there's this little moment in like the middle section of the song where it's the after the la 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 la, and then it goes into the and then when it switches to that F chord, me and Brennick O'Connor would always lock eyes and drop at the same time on stage every single night.
That's awesome.
So anytime I listen to that song, I still find myself doing that.
That's awesome.
So the reason why I wanted to clarify and mention that it was the first single is because when it dropped, I listened to it like 100 times. Because I find that acoustic guitar section so memorable, and so it's like being like hugged by a warm blanket almost.
Yeah.
I find the song so uplifting, and I think Ferdia Walsh Pilo, whose name is quite a mouthful, his vocals are so lovely on the album and in the film. It's such a great song. I think Brennick sounds better, but that's between me and you.
And everybody
Brennick I still am convinced that he's a god on earth. He's not only the most talented person I've ever met, but he's also literally the nicest person. Like, he and I literally, like, because we're best friends on stage, so we're like really close in real life too, because and then when I was watching the show and I realized, oh my God, it's the kid who killed Jon Snow. I was like,
oh, is that who he is?
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh no. I
was like, I am
entire.
What was his name?
Right
What was his name for Game of Thrones? Lolly? I think it's Lolly, right?
Yeah.
Ollie.
I was like, you have to reassess how much I'm enjoying his character and performance. But anyways, I love this song, and I think the composition of the acoustic guitar is so gorgeous and memorable, and it's just it's so wonderful.
Yeah, just the chord progression and everything. It's actually my one hard rockin' I actually gave. It's out of the two. I have interesting choices, but this one was one of my favorites. I love the progression, and I love the vocals, as you were saying, Maxwell. Now, Maxwell, before I go to everybody else, what is your score for it?
5.
Rockin'. Bada bing, bada boom. Awesome.
I'm saving my 2 hard rockins for other ones, but if I had more, I would have also given this a hard rockin'. But you only gave us 2, so.
Yep, I had to do the rules are rules.
Stingy.
If I gave everybody unlimited, it wouldn't be fair. Jen, A, what do you think of Up, and B, what do you give it?
Oh, I love this song. This was the song as it began, like, it had me by the chorus. This was the moment in the film that I went, oh, this is something special. And this is the song that really stuck with me from the very beginning. It has been in my regular rotation for songs I sing in the shower since it came out. But yeah, it is just a beautiful song. I feel, when I first listened to it, I feel like Rafina in the film, like they show her listening and just smile. It feels like something familiar to me for some reason. It's something I heard before in a dream almost. Like it just spoke to me right away. And I really like this one because it really was the first time for the soundtrack of like you feel this genuine moment from the character, because it really comes from that like adolescent naivete of like this is him experiencing love for the first time, and it's just so genuine and powerful, and it's something that like it breaks him up but it lifts him up, and you just want to stay in that moment of uncertainty but you're excited about it. And yeah, this is one of my hard rockins. I might change my mind as we go along, but this is definitely one I'm locking in here. This is my hard rockin' for one of them. I still don't know about the second one. We'll see as we go along. But yeah, absolutely Up is one of them.
We'll see what happens. Kristen.
Okay, so I'm going to get this out of the way first because I always talk about like the music theory behind things, and I know it's not everyone's favorite part, but it's important to me because I think that the songs themselves are their own characters, and the theory behind them is important to understand that character. Yeah. So this is one of the first songs that really starts showing like this dichotomy between like these introspective songs with major keys and like the really like happy-go-lucky catchy songs having minor keys, and showing that like with every light there is a darkness and vice versa. And so this is one of those songs. So it's this quiet, soft, like introspective song that has a major key, and a lot of times it's the opposite, right? You have minor keys with a softer song. The other thing that's interesting with this one is that it ends unresolved, and so you don't actually know where you're going with it. Normally, in a song that's supposed to be a little more like happy and feeling and stuff, you have a resolution because you know what's going to happen. Everyone ends up happy and all this, but in this song, you don't get that resolution. You're kind of left not sure where you're going. And so I think it's really important for like the character of the music to have that in there. I think it's really interesting. And now I'll move on to like what the song means to me.
Yeah.
I just love that it's Cosmo growing as a music writer, going from like, I'm just writing music to impress a girl, going from that to actually finding himself in the music and finding that he really wants to do more creative things. And that is him finding his identity. And that's what this song is to me, is he's actually trying, he's like learning who he is. He's learning his soul. And I think that it's just really impressive that the song starts out and you can hear it. He's writing a song about a girl. And then Eamon comes in with the piano and it adds this layer of maybe he's not just writing it about a girl. And then you get the full band coming in and all of a sudden we have found our identity. Yeah. It's really like super perfect. And the bridge comes in and just hits, and the bridge is just like literally one of the most perfect things. Yeah. It's so good. It's not a hard rockin' for me, but it's really hard not to call it. Like, there's so much in this song that is just really perfect that it's hard to not say it is, but there are so many perfect songs on this soundtrack. So it's a 5. Like an easy 5, but also not an easy 5.
Yeah. You nailed it, because Riddle, the first song, they were still trying to find themselves musically, and I think with this song in particular, you can now tell that each song that's subsequent, they found their jive, they found what their sound is, and it's more consistent hereafter. I didn't really think of it that way, but yeah, you're completely correct. Tim.
So I get to follow up Kristen's lovely.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I'll just say it's a good song. I like it. No, just kidding.
Okay, Tim. Chris is giving us like Pulitzer Prize worthy.
You guys know what to expect. I do this every Suddenly soundtrack.
It's good.
Echoing what everyone else said, it's a beautiful song. I think it's definitely one of the most like beautiful songs on the entire soundtrack. Yeah. It really feels very uplifting, despite the uncertainty of the ending, and I just feel very light listening to it, and I feel very happy listening to it, and I really enjoy that as well. So for me, it's an easy 5. It's not. I mean, it could be a hard rocking on any given day, but at this point, it is a 5 for me, a rocking, and it's a great song.
Still saving you too.
I am.
Max, I saved you for last. I'm going to give you the first shot. What are your thoughts on Up, bud?
Yeah, Up is my favorite song on the album.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's not only I feel like it really is the story of Sing Street summed up. I mean, I've been asked before, like, how would you describe Sing Street in like an elevator pitch? And I was like, it's about the ability of music to transport a broken soul in a broken town in a broken country, and have that, fly above the restrictions held on by society. So I really feel like Up is Sing Street, not personified, but like in a song way. But even just seeing the effects that this song has on people in the audience, like looking out at the people sitting in the front row, because at the end of the song we would do the going up, doing that like at the end. Yeah, we were at a line on downstage. So we literally, like looking out at the front row and seeing people crying is the most fulfilling thing, because we weren't doing anything really special. We were just on a line downstage playing our guitar, bopping out, having fun as, a band. And it's just so transformative. Even my girlfriend, Lane, who I think is watching this tonight. Hi, Lane.
Hello.
I'm just going to take this opportunity to say your Instagram photos with her are fucking precious.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
they're adorable.
Hey, watch your language.
I'm sorry, are precious. You guys are adorable.
Thank you. Yeah, but she always tells me that she can't get through the song without crying every single time. So sometimes when she's just like over here at my house, I'll just be like, hey, Lane, It's 2:00 on the edge of the morning.
It's great.
Tears. Oh,
That's
there she is.
adorable.
Hi, Lane.
Hi, Lane. Everyone say hi, Lane.
Hello.
Oh, hey, Lane.
Hi, Lane.
But yeah, it's just my favorite song on the album, and yeah, I gotta give it. If it was possible to give it a 7 out of 10, I would, but I'll give it a 6 out of, or not a 7 out of 10, 7 out of 5.
Yep.
10 out of 10.
So
10
super
out
hard
of 10.
rock.
20 out of 10.
Yeah, but I gotta give it a hard rockin'.
No, that's perfect. That's awesome. So we're gonna go into this next number. Oh, yeah.
It's so cute.
So Max,
Young love, y'all. Young love.
It's so cute. It's so cute.
I'm sorry. I'm sure you're super embarrassed, Max. I apologize.
No, trust me, I love it. It's great.
So Max, this next song is essentially like we talked about this off there. It's basically like, to me, it's the Suddenly Seymour of this show. It's really, really, really beautiful, and I'll let you go to town on this one. To Find You, what are your thoughts on this beautiful number?
Yeah, I mean, this was the song that I was actually listening to it in the car, and I literally just started crying. It's so beautiful. You know, I personally think that the message to the song is just absolutely gorgeous. I mean, it's literally his unbridled feelings towards Rafina, and I'm sure, you know, speaking from a teenage perspective, I know a lot of teenagers feel that way too. So it's really awesome. And yeah, Brennick, I mean, watching him sing this song every night, sitting on the side of the stage, yeah, I could barely get through it without sobbing my eyes out. So I had to still hold myself together because I'm supposed to be this like bubbly character on stage, but I was sitting on the side of the stage being like, oh my God. But no, I mean, I got to give it a 5. It's so beautifully composed by Gary. And when we were actually recording it, Gary played live keys while Brennick was singing. And just being able to like sit in there and witness that was just the craziest fucking thing in the world, to be able to see that. It was beautiful. But yeah, I got to give it a 5.
So beautiful. Maxwell, what are your thoughts on To Find You?
Yeah, so very similar to Max. I have a hard time listening to the song and not immediately bursting into tears. I think it's one of the great modern songs about longing and love lost, but it also has such a specific message that I think, like Max was saying, is about teenage feelings and teenage angst. I think it's so gorgeous. The searing piano, the vocals, and I love the lyrics. Like, I gotta find out who I'm meant to be. I don't believe in destiny. It's like so elegant.
So
and it is my first hard rockin'.
Oh, good. We're actually in Toga's second hard rockin', because again, this is such a beautiful song. The orchestration is beautiful. The impact of the lyrics are beautiful, and especially when he's singing on that stage and it cuts back to her, and the film itself is gorgeous. Even by itself, I like ballads like this. I like piano vocal. It's my kind of thing. And again, this does harken back to kind of like the softer songs in Little Shop and stuff. It's just really good. Tim, what are your thoughts on To Find You?
Oh, this is a hard one.
Oh,
So it's between this song and another. There's the 2 songs that for me were between my my second hard rockin', and I've literally changed my mind as I sat here like 3 or 4 times. I've scratched out hard rockin' and moved it around to different times to the other song, and I still don't know where I'm at as I'm talking about this. So I'm just going to talk about that a little longer, just kind of stretch it out. This song is beautiful. I mean, yeah, this song, when I saw the movie, it kind of like broke me, but in like a good way. And I think it's beautiful. I think it's, lovely. Yeah. It reminds me a lot. So there's an artist that I really like. I'm not sure too many people have heard of him. He's kind of smaller, but his name is Greg Laswell. And it kind of reminds me of like a song that Greg Laswell, like I could see him singing. And like basically all of his songs like destroy me. So I really love it in a good way. And I think I'm ready to make my rating, and I think I'm going to switch it up again, and I'm going to say this is my first, I guess, hard rockin'.
Your first. That's awesome. Cool. Awesome. I know that everybody's indecisive because that's how good this damn soundtrack is.
Yeah,
it's so good. Kristen.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm twins with Max in all things, so of course this is a hard rockin' for me.
Oh.
Yeah, not Maxwell.
Yeah.
This is so the most confusing. We should never have. I mean, we should always have guests on that are as great as Max, but also
Max is pretty good, but I'm so good they had to add a well to the end.
True. I mean,
he maxes well. He maxes really well.
Okay, I'll go run down to the courthouse and get my name changed. So I can
just so I'm not confused. And
I mean, we could call you Darren.
You could one up.
Very well. That's perfect.
Our mobile business solutions. Your problem is my solution.
You could one up me and go Maximilian. That like the hierarchy goes Max.
Well, my
millions of Maxes.
Here, you'll like this. My middle school nickname was Gluteus Maximus.
Oh,
that is good. Yeah, they called me Maxi Pad, which I was not thrilled with.
Oh, no,
that's horrible.
Somebody was telling me that should be my drag name.
That would work.
I mean, I guess
I'm sure that's taken actually.
Yeah, sure.
Probably at this point. Yeah.
Well, the tangent portion of the show.
Great tangent.
Doing well. Yeah. So I really love this song. I think that it's a lot of the time the quieter songs are not like the focus of the movie or the album, but for me, like this is kind of Max's up. Like to me, this is kind of where you really see like the character growth come in, and it's for me what the movie is about. And I think that because the song piggybacks off of Up in that they're both more introspective. They're both these quieter songs that kind of build into something more. You know, this is like the first time Cosmo's really just singing his emotions out, and you're really getting a feel for who he is and his character and how it's progressing. It's also just incredibly simplistic, but in like a perfect way. And then it ends, as opposed to Up, which doesn't end on a resolution. This one does. And so it kind of gives you like this duo where Up ends with a question mark. And this is the answer to that question mark. You know, you have your call and your response. This is the response. You know, it's the response to, is this something that could happen? To find you is the answer. And every time, it just makes me feel so warm inside. This is the blanket song. Maxwell said something about blankets earlier. Maybe the whole movie was a blanket. I think that's what he said. But this is my blanket song. It's you listen to this song and you just like wrap up in a warm blanket and you just feel good.
Cover that goes over the blanket.
Yeah. So yeah, it's an easy hard rockin' for me. It's just really good.
Awesome. Jen, you get to be the transition panelist. You get to go into the next song and this one. Jen, what are your thoughts on To Find You and what do you give it? I know a lot of people have said a lot.
A lot of people have said a lot, and here's the thing. Okay, so here comes cynical Jen here. Okay, so from a storytelling standpoint, this is a great song. I agree with everything that's been said. I love the vulnerability of this song, of just showing how like young love. It's so matter of fact, of like there's no question about it. I'm in love, but this is me watching, and I'm a little bit older. And to quote Sweeney Todd, "You are young. Life has been kind to you. You will learn." So there's something about, for some reason, the movie version never quite clicked for me. I think for some reason, it always reminds me a little bit of like a Bryan Adams kind of song, which I think is part of the problem because those tend to be very schmaltzy and
totally
easy rocking kind of stuff. Having said that, I'm going to bring it back around. Ready? Having said that.
When I'm in a mood, Heaven by Bryan Adams, man.
Sometimes you just need some Bryan Adams, you do. But having said that, the movie version, it's still a great song. So absolutely, it's a download for me for the movie version. Having said that, I listened to the Broadway version earlier today, and that is a hard rocking. I absolutely love the Broadway version. Like it all just clicked once I listened to that. So I totally understand what everybody said, but for whatever reason, it might be the echoing nature of it in the movie because it is like kind of a live performance of the vocals, and just the fact that it also might have to do with the scene of it's that high school kind of dance where if it plays, it could be a complete buzzkill because if you don't have a partner, it's going to go south real fast. But yeah, for the Broadway version would absolutely be a hard rockin', but for me, the movie version of the soundtrack, it is a download still.
Yep. Okay. So, Jen, I'm going to go to you first now since I went to you last. What are your thoughts on A Beautiful Sea, which it has a lot of good synth arrangements in it?
Oh, yeah. A Beautiful Sea. This is the Cure's song The Cure never made. Happy Sad. It is fantastic of, again, the naive love of like, I love you so much, I'm suicidal, essentially. But yeah, one of my favorite parts in this is just the early double clap. Like within 13 seconds. I always love a clap. There's a lot of clap tracks in these songs, and every single time it comes up, I just instantly love it. So yeah, this is it's a download for me, just because it didn't quite stick in my head the way that other songs have, and that's a comment on how strong some of these other songs are. But it still definitely enjoy this song. It just didn't click right away, but coming back to it was a great experience.
Max, I'm going to throw it to you. Beautiful Sea, Max Bartos. What are your thoughts on it, bud?
Yeah, I mean, doing the so in the off-Broadway version, I did this fun thing where I had a guitar strapped to my back, and I played synth in the song. So when I wasn't playing synth, I just whipped my guitar around and I did that. So it was certainly interesting. Especially
I like the guitar.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's so Cure. Even that under the waves, I feel her pull my body down. It's it's so beautiful. But I love this song. I think that the lyrics are so like, you know, what would be My Chemical Romance-y. Even that under the waves, I feel her pull my body down. It's very it's awesome. And I think, you know, having, you know, the insider view of this song, I was talking to Gary about it, and he told me so many fun facts about it, where he literally was listening to Friday I'm in Love while trying to pen this song. And we actually based a lot of the staging for the off-Broadway version. I won't give any spoilers about Broadway, but we based a lot of the off-Broadway choreography on Sonia, our choreographer, literally pulled up a laptop, pressed play on Friday I'm in Love, and was like, mimic this. So that's awesome. His, like, arm crosses and all his, But no, I love this song. I think the composition of it is fabulous. I mean, it's a shame it got cut down in the movie, but don't worry, we do the full thing. But yeah, no, I got to give it a 5. It's definitely rocking. It's definitely, you know, it's the Act 1 closer in the show, for those of you who have seen it off Broadway. And it's just such a fucking great time to be up there doing it. So I got to give it a 5.
And by the way, that choreographer is Sonia Taya, who also did Moulin Rouge, and arguably some of the very, very best all-time So You Think You Can Dance pieces she choreographed. She is brilliant. And
she also did Moving Out, I think, right? Was that her?
No, that's a different.
Oh, okay, never mind.
No, she did The Wild Party. I know.
Moving Out was Twyla.
That's what I'm thinking.
Twyla Tharp.
Twyla Tharp.
But when Sonia finally started like actively choreographing for stage musicals, I was so happy because I think she's so brilliant.
Oh,
she's
awesome.
Literally the most kind. Like, I remember she was talking to my mom one time and was like, "Max and I are kindred spirits," and I was like, "Oh my god, thank you, Sonia Taya." Like, I was freaking out. She gave us these like wellness shots at one rehearsal, and they literally tasted like salad dressing. But somehow she got all the cast members to do it, and we all hated ourselves afterwards because it tasted like we licked a tire. But it was, you know, we got through a run through and singing very high stuff in mid-January. So,
wow,
no, it was great.
Kristen.
Yeah, there's not much else to say. I will bring up that the songwriters and then Carney have said in interviews and stuff that their goal for the song was to make them feel like products of the 80s, but also outside of that time frame, so both inside and outside of the 80s. And for me, I actually think that this song does the best job of achieving that goal. Like, I feel like this could have been in the 80s, but I also feel like it belongs somewhere else, right? It feels very much like you could have written it in the 90s or 2000s, so and it would have fit perfectly. Yeah. It's a really cool thing that they tried to do. And like some of the songs I feel like achieve it better than others. And I just think that this is one of the best songs to achieve that. That being said, it's not one of my favorite songs in the soundtrack. Like saying that is like really stupid because it's it's still really, really good. Like
so good.
I mean, saying it's not my favorite is literally just because I have to rank them in general.
You've given us a difficult task, Chris.
Yeah, I really dislike. Okay, so this is also another song that uses a major key and also ends without a resolution, which is like triggering you that things are becoming more difficult in the character's journey. That there's going to be a little bit of something going on. So I think that there's stuff that's going on in the song that's really, really interesting. But it also just, for me, doesn't like, there's something about it that like, when I listen to it, I love it. But then after I'm done listening to the soundtrack and I'm like thinking about it, it's not the first one I think about.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think if you could think about literally everything all at the same time, you'd go crazy. But I do want to call out the guitar part after the second verse. It's so fun. Like it's just, I love that riff. I think it's he's gonna play it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember it, but it's
really cool. It's really fun. I just think that it breaks up like the second verse and the chorus in such a fun way, and I love that they put that in there. So yeah, this is a 4 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, it's a solid download for me too. I actually kind of echo what Kristen was saying. Essentially, it's really good when I'm listening to it. I really like the synth. I love the arrangement. I like the driving force behind it, and I do like that guitar part you mentioned. I just, after I'm done listening to it, I wouldn't go back to it as much as I would a couple of these other tracks, which are still solid. I have to give it a download, but it's a very high download, and it's a testament to how the quality on this score in particular. Tim, you're the transition piece this time, bud. What do you give it?
Max didn't go yet. Max wouldn't go yet, but I'll go. I'll go.
No, it's all cool. Go for it. Go for it, Tim. I gotta go to Maxwell.
I kind of echo what Kristen and Clark were saying. I think this song is great. I'll say it right off the bat. It's a download it for me, and a lot of that's the same reason that Chris mentioned is like if I'm listening to the soundtrack, I'll listen to it all the way through. But this isn't a song that I instantly go back. This isn't a song that as soon as it's done playing, I'll click back and replay it. Whereas there's many other songs where I'll listen to them like 2 or 3 times in a single run through of the soundtrack. So it's nothing against the song. It's a great song, and I love The Cure. And it's really funny that you say that it's like that you were like just directly influenced by Friday I'm in Love, because I can see that.
That's my
but yeah, it's a lot of fun, but it's a download it for me just because there's other songs that I will listen to more.
Cool. Maxwell, go for it. What are your thoughts on Beautiful Sea? Sorry about that.
Beautiful Sea makes me want to crack open a cold beer and go frolic on the beach. I just want to like splash in the ocean. It's so joyous. It has a dope, funky bass riff underneath. I give it a 5 because it's just pure fun. Like I said, it just makes you want to have a good time, and I think in that regard, it's a massive success.
Yep. And Max, you know what? I'm just going to let you do the honors for this one. You're talking about a fun song. Drive It Like You Stole It is a bop. What are your thoughts on it, bud?
Me or Max?
Oh, Maxwell, yeah.
Look,
I see the obligatory myth. I've been waiting so long to play these.
Hey, if you want to play, go right ahead.
Go for it. Yeah, but...
I mean, look.
I'll be here for background music.
Drive It Like You Stole It is one of the boppiest bops to ever bop.
Yeah,
the song is absolutely incredible. To me, obviously, To Find You and Up are like the emotional centerpieces of the piece. But when I think Sing Street, this is a song that pops in my head. This is like the defining song. This is the one that everyone was saying should have been Oscar nominated and tragically wasn't. It's synth pop, it's rock, the melody and beats. It's a perfect song. And I think it's like the perfect encapsulation of the band. and what they're able to accomplish is this song, because I genuinely believe if this was a real song in the 80s, it would have been a #1 hit.
It would have 110%.
Incredible. I could listen to the song over and over again, whether it be the film version or the stage version. It's a hard rockin'. It's a 6 for me. I'm not going to bury the lead.
Whoa. Okay. Is that your second 6?
That is. I'm all out of 6s.
He's all out of 6s.
He's all out of 6s.
No place to go. Tim,
I came here to give 6s and chew bubblegum, and I'm all out of bubblegum.
Tim, go for it, bud.
Yeah, I mean, this song is absolutely incredible. I remember seeing it in the movie, and I was just like, wow, I'm going to be listening to that a lot.
It's about.
And yeah, I definitely was. I listen to it all the time. It's you mentioned that it could fit perfectly in the 80s. It's cool because it also has some very some vibes that go back even further than the 80s though. It's got this kind of 50s-ish feel to it almost too as well, which I really enjoy. So yeah, I mean, there's not much to be said about this song. I mean, I'm sure Kristen will say a lot more. And but it's an incredible song. This was like it was just an easy hard. I didn't have to think about this one. This was hard rocking, so it's hard rocking.
Jen.
This is Oscar winning. I reject your reality and substitute my own. This is an Oscar winning song right here. I would be lying if I said this wasn't a hard rocking for me. So I think it has to be that's just how it is. Because just from the opening synth, when I first heard, I was like, oh, we're going to party. This is going to be great. And this is just this joyful earworm that has you dancing in your seat. And it's just one of those, there's always the dichotomy of breakup songs of there's either we broke up and I miss you and I love you forever, or we broke up and I'm going to be good and I'm going to do myself and everything. And it's going to be great. And any song that ends in that breakdown clap break, for whatever reason, it works for me. Oh, yeah. I'm a sucker for that. And this one, it hits that perfectly. And yeah, it is, again, the boppiest bop of all bops. It's perfect.
Had I not used both of my hard rockins, I would have given this one. But this is radio friendly. This, again, as Maxwell said, this would have been a #1 hit. This would have easily been a #1 hit in the 80s. Even actually kind of possibly just to kind of a little bit of a fault, just because, yes, it does sound very 80s, but it also sounds really 90s as well. So in that sense, it doesn't necessarily fit the period that it's in. But again, it's still a fun tune, and I still enjoy it completely. And we're not
it's before its time, even though it's after its time.
Yeah, it's in a weird position, if you get what I'm saying. Kristen.
Okay, I'll just say that there is a time and place for power chords, and this is the time and the place. If you're going to use them, this is how you do it. Yeah, literally the whole song is just power chords, and I adore it. This is one of those upbeat songs that has a minor key, so you're jamming to the song because it is a literal bop. But it also has an undertone to it, so it's super positive. But in the movie, he's also having this kind of crisis moment. So you get that in the song, even if you're not actually physically watching it. And I think that's really important to have that in there. With every positive thing happening, there's also an underside to that. There's a different side to the coin. And I think that this song really fits that mold. And I love that they chose to do that with this song. But yeah, this is my other 6. I love this song. Out of all the songs on the soundtrack, when I bought it, when it first came out, this has never left my rotation. It has been in my gym rotation since day 1, and I rotate that out very frequently, and it has never left. It will never leave. It'll be there until I die. It is so good. It just it hits. It hits. That's it.
It's
that's it,
things.
Right? It's just really good.
Max, Bartos, Max, what are your thoughts on Drive It Like I Stole It? And I guess it's really fun to perform.
Yeah, it's I actually just realized, I don't know why I pulled this out sooner. Vinyl.
That's awesome.
My mom actually got it as a present for me when I found out I got cast in the show. I actually found out that I got cast at theater overnight camp at Stage Door Manor. So they announced Oh yeah, because I had to leave camp like my third day in for like a night because I had one of my final callbacks for the role. And I came back and like 2 days later, I got called over the loudspeaker, and like my biggest fear in the world is getting in trouble. So they were like, Max Bartos, please come to the main office. So I was like, I'm sorry, I don't know what I did, but I'm already apologizing because I hate getting in trouble. And then my mom was on the phone and she goes, you booked Sing Street. I was like, oh my God, like I'm equally happy that I booked Sing Street and also that I'm not in trouble. So yeah, my mom got that for me as a present. But no, Drive It Like You Stole It's a really fun song to play. I have some very interesting stories about performing this one live. We so in the off-Broadway version, we had these white T-shirts over our gray school uniforms that said Sing Street. So I didn't leave the stage. The rest of the band guys did to get changed into their brown shoes costumes, but I did not because I had a scene with Connor. So I took off my Drive It Like You Stole It white shirt, and I was sweating so much because that whole song I was running around the stage like a fucking gerbil with a can of it was supposed to be hairspray, but it was really just like aerosol like propellant, and I was spraying it around him to create like a fog machine effect. So I would literally use it as a sweat towel. And our costume person would be like, do you just want us to like get you a towel to like preset on stage or something so that you don't have to keep using the shirt? I was like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. But no, this song is just so fun to perform. It's, those clapping sections every night. We would look up at the audience because we were facing straight out, and the whole audience would be clapping with us. And so would the guys in the spot loft as they were doing they'd be clapping with us. And our music director, Fred Lassen, who was in like another booth area, would also be clapping along. It was just so awesome. And so I got to give it another 5. I mean, I got to save my 6 for one more song that I absolutely love with all of my heart because, and I'll tell you guys what that is later when we get to it. But I can also preface this because I'm looking at the list right now and I can see Up Bedroom Mix is next. So I actually have a very funny theater fail to tell you guys about if you want to hear it.
Go for it. We'll transition into that. Go for it.
So it's very funny because there's a scene with me and Connor where it's right after the Drive It Like You Stole It, and he basically hands me this broken cassette. Brother Baxter comes in, grabs the VHS tape out of my camera and smashes it. So it was rigged to have like electrical tape around the spools so that the tape wouldn't shoot out everywhere. But one night, oh no, it didn't work. So the tape was pouring out of this thing, and I'm supposed to be sobbing on stage, and so is Connor because the band just broke up. So I'm like, oh, I'm sorry about everything, Connor. And he's like, don't. And I'm just crying, but I'm holding this VHS tape with tape just pouring out. So then I'm supposed to, since there's no off stage, I just went over and sat on my bench. But I thought I had gathered it all up, but there was still a trail of tape behind me. So I sat on the side of the stage facing Connor singing this song, pulling it towards me. And this was the aftermath. New York Theater Workshop posted it, but that was the aftermath.
Oh, wow.
Oh, God.
And we all called it, it was just so funny because Brennick, who's supposed to be having this like crazy introspective moment, and the band is doing this like dreamy choreography around him. They were all just looking at me and they were like, and then we walked off stage to get ready for Brown Shoes, which me and Sam Poon had like a crazy fast quick change. And I walked off stage and everyone was like, it's Tape Gate. They called it Tape Gate to this day. And it was so funny because I also found out that Marissa Tomei was there that night.
Oh.
And so was Jane Krakowski and Andrew Keenan Bolger.
Oh, wow.
So, like, of course, the night that the really famous people are there, I have my biggest stage mishap of all time.
Oh, my God.
But then I talked to our director, and she was like, well, you have the most props out of everybody in this show because you are, like, scrambling. And I was like, yeah. So, but no, Up Bedroom Mix is the song that I listen to when I just need to chill, when life is getting too crazy. Just listening to that, then I'm back in the dream. I'm like, oh, But it's no, I mean, I found myself like Maxwell was saying, I'm just tipping, bag bellhops at the hotel. I'm just putting up fives because I'm definitely not biased at all, and
totally not
whatsoever. But no, I gotta give Up Bedroom Mix a 5. Just because of the composition and because it brings back some very fond and slightly scarring memories.
That stage mishaps are also sometimes hilarious and fun, just like that.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Live is live, guys. Nothing is perfect.
The magic of live theater, or even live TV or live streaming, is like whatever happens, everyone sees it happen, and that's thrilling.
It's great.
Well, then somebody came up to me after the show, and they were like, "Oh my god, it's so interesting that the tape broke, and you were pulling it together because maybe it simulates the band breaking up." And
oh my god!
You're like, yes, exactly.
Definitely an intentional visual metaphor.
This is exactly what happened to the Beatles.
It was very funny because my mom was seeing the show that night, and she was like, "That was hilarious." I'm like, "Oh, I know," and we need to stop the Pinkberry on the way home.
Oh god! Imagine if they added that to the show. Tim, what are your thoughts on Up Bedroom Mix?
I appreciate the mellow tone and like the chill vibe that Max mentioned. It's a very pretty version of the song. It's very short and sweet.
It's mostly instrumental too.
Yeah, it's got a long instrumental bit in the beginning, especially. It's one of my downloads just because again, it's not something I go back to and like want to actively listen to again very much, but I appreciate it for what it is.
It's short, sweet. It does its job in the film. It is chill, like Max did say. Again, I'm with Tim. I gave it a download, but not because of anything more than just like it would be a rockin' in any other movie. It's like I like the instrumentation. The instrumental might be a little bit too long compared to how long the actual song is. So, but other than that, it's still a beautiful piece. And it's welcome in the movie, and it is very relaxing. Jen.
I loved Up the first time around. So yeah, it's a rockin' for me. But yeah, it's a vibe. It's got that slow, mournful like piano opening, and the instrumentals are just gorgeous for me. And then when the vocals finally do come in, like it's so quiet, it's almost like a whisper, and it's wavering, and you can really feel the emotion. It's like on the verge of tears, and yeah, it's just a beautiful, tiny song, but it's still a rockin' for me.
Maxwell, your thoughts on Up the Bedroom Mix?
Yeah, I really like this. Like you said, it is a heavy instrumental track. I give it a 4, but what I will say is on the cast recording, instead of calling it bedroom version, they call it up down version.
Yeah.
And I actually like what they did with it on the cast album more than how it's at least orchestrated and sung in the film. I think they enriched it and made it stronger. But it is lovely, and it is a mood, and it is a good chill track, and it makes you feel things. It definitely allows you to reflect, and sometimes that can be dangerous. But it just doesn't hit that 5 mark for me on the Sing Street curve.
Yeah, the Sing Street curve is a thing. Kristen.
Yeah, I don't have much else to say for this one.
I
mean, it's you know how I am with reprises. Like if I feel like there's no purpose for them, I don't like them. This I feel like has a very clear purpose. And as you listen to it, even if you haven't ever watched the movie, you know what's happening, right? Like he is going through some very serious things. And this, I mean, I actually love how long the instrumental is. I think it really plays to how introspective he's being in this moment where he's really soul searching. And the song is so open and honest and simple that you really get to the heart of the matter here. And I think because of that, it's like, for me, like one of the most perfect reprises in a musical. Like, I just think it does exactly what it needs to do. It hits its beat. It shows exactly like where the character is at, and you can hear it without seeing it. Like, that's just perfect to me. So it's a 5 out of 5. I think it just does a really great job.
It does its job. Yeah. This cool. We're going to go right into Girls. And you know what? Maxwell, what are your thoughts on Girls?
Girls is another song in Sing Street that is just so much fun. It's joyous. I hear John talking on the phone, I think.
He's doing work. I'm sorry. I'll mute.
Sorry, it's distracting. I'm so sorry.
It's all good.
I was really distracted too.
Tell your husband to keep quiet. It's just like a joyous synth pop song, and it actually reminds me a lot of the Panic at the Disco song "Girls, Girls, Boys."
Yes.
So I find that if I make playlists, I'll put them back to back on a playlist because I think they work so well together. But the chorus of this song is almost as boppy of a bop as "Drive It Like You Stole It." It makes me want to clap and dance and party, and it's so fun. I give it a 5. It would be one that I would, if I had more hard rockins, this might be the other one I would give a hard rockin', but it's a 5.
This is very fun. Honestly, for the soundtrack itself, I kind of told a couple people this off. It's probably my weakest song on the soundtrack. I gave it a shuffle it. I know.
Whoa, how dare you?
Excuse me, only 4, 5s, and 6s are allowed on this episode.
I'm so sorry. I failed everybody. It's just like I really dig like the upbeat atmosphere, but it's just not something that I would go back to. It's not a song that really captured me. I hope that makes sense. But I mean, it had a very like kind of Uptown Funk kind of vibe to it too, which was kind of like a little bit like I could see this being like medleyed with that or Uptown. Yeah.
Hold up here. PJ Campbell, the namesake of this network, has never 6th Street.
Wait, what?
For shame. For shame.
I shame him. I shame him all the time on that.
That is okay. Forget what Chris just said. This is the blasphemy. PJ, get off watching this show and go watch this movie immediately.
I give PJ Campbell a skip it.
Yeah, I give PJ a skip it also. This is just.
I thought we were friends this whole time.
I hope I didn't.
Welcome to the Maxwell Haddad Network.
Max,
have you usurped the throne?
Max, what are your thoughts on Girls and performing this one?
Yeah, I mean, Girls is a crazy song. It's one of my favorite songs to perform live because I love the sort of like, you know, I when I listen to it, I think very like Joy Division-y, very like Cheap Trick type stuff. You know, that's what Gary was telling me too. One night because we literally were on stage going like, because me and Sam Poon played acoustic guitar during the song. So he and I literally were just going, and because we just moshed that entire song. And then the next scene I had to do my big like monologue at the sink. I literally would have to like, this was pre them placing a sweat towel for me days. So I literally would, because I had to underdress my undershirt, because we actually used real school uniforms from the school Sing Street. They sent them to us. So I was wearing a wool sweater with that gray shirt and the Sing Street shirt and the shirt underneath. So I was just literally roasting. And I would literally just be like, oh, it's complicated. Right there, Connor. So this song is awesome. It's definitely a banger. It's, you know, it's still not one of my hard rockins, but it's definitely a rockin'. I love this song. I think that little falsetto flip on and the complicated girls is just to die for. So
you don't have to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah, just you can just like
just do the whole song. Just go ahead.
Pull myself apart. Yeah, it's so I gotta give it a 5 out of 5. Rockin' for me.
I feel like it's going to be me against the world with this one. Jed.
I'm so glad that people love this song. Yes. Like this was the one that it was so close to being my other hard rockin', but Drive It Like You Stole It. It's too hard. But pop punk high school Jen loves this song. Okay, if this came out when I was in high school, this is all I would do all the time. But I love this song because this is the one that it really feels like high school kids could write this song. And I feel like that's the way that it really works for me. But this is like one of those perfect, like drunken karaoke party songs where the worse you sound, the better it is. Like the vocals do not need to be pitch perfect to make it work. I think the worse they are, it actually sounds better. So like it's one of those things of it's just one of those. I don't know why, but it really stuck in my head the first time. And when I came back to it, I'm like, surely it's not as good as I remember. It's like, no, it's as good, if not better. And it has some of my favorite lyrics from all the songs of just like, I shift my shape the way I change my colors. Guess I'm even a work of art. Like, that's really cool. Okay, that's really fun. And yeah, it's just one of those fun songs about like the complicated nature of adolescence. And this is one that it wasn't so centered on the love aspect, unlike pretty much every other song other than Brown Shoes here. So this is just one of those pop punk adolescent anthems, and it's awesome, and I love it. And yeah, if karaoke actually had this song, it would be one of my go-tos.
What was your go-to pop punk anthem in high school, middle school?
Oh, I'm a big Fall Out Boy girl. That was that they hit big right when I was like, because this sounds like something that would come off like an EP, not like when they're established. Like that's what it sounds like to me, garage band kind of thing. And yeah, it speaks to my heart there. So
yeah, Teenagers from My Chemical Romance.
Yeah, I was out of high school already, but the one for me is Paramore's "That's What You Get."
Yes,
that's the one that no matter what comes on, I'm 19 again. Everything is awful, and I'm banging in my room.
Yeah, or Jesus of Suburbia by Green Day.
Yeah, the song is literally so. My Chemical Romance is my favorite.
I'm predicting now and putting this out there that in a couple years I'm going to produce a revival of American Idiot and Cats. Max in the lead.
There you go.
That is one of my dream roles. Like I would do that in a heartbeat and cry the whole time out of happiness.
So I'm putting it out in the ether, and we'll try and make it happen.
No, this song is very like when I heard it, thought immediately I brought you my Bullets era, my chem, like very like that.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Yep. Kristen, do you like girls? Oh wait! Oh God! Oh God! Wait!
This is like a bi anthem, honestly. So that fits.
I'm very forward of you.
Yeah.
I think John's ears just perked up.
That is definitely going into the Chris Clark teacher file.
You know what's funny is I literally knew you were going to say that, and I was just like, it's going to happen.
I'll just be there.
It's about to happen.
God.
Amazing. Yes, I do.
All a big coup just to figure that out.
Yeah, I do for the song.
Seriously, do you?
No, I am unfortunately just like this normal straight person. I do think women are beautiful, but they just don't like excite me that way.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
I know, right? Like it would be more interesting, but no, I'm just boring. Yeah, no, I think the song is really great, and like the more I listen to it, the more I kind of appreciate what it's doing, because it's very like, it feels like, oh, this is just a fun song. But then when like you're like listening to the lyrics and stuff, you're really like seeing Cosmo just being like, no, I'm done writing songs for girls. I'm writing songs for me now. And it's also like the band developing from being, you know, like kind of like an 80s rock group to like a punk rock group. And they're like, we're just going to be rebellious now. Like, we're done soul searching. Like, this is us, and you can take us or leave us. And I think it's just really cool that they've spent the whole movie trying to find themselves, and like at the last two songs, like they hit hard. Like they find themselves, they find what they want to do. They're like, this is who we are, and you know, you can just like listen to us or not. The one line I really love is like when they're talking about like feel your heart liberated. Like that's like Cosmo just saying like, I'm like, this is me liberating myself from the purpose of me doing this to be for chasing a girl. Like he's finally, this is what he wants to do, right? Like it's just really cool. Like it's a cool transition song for the character. It's a fun song to just listen to. Obviously it's a 5 because I've used both of my 6s up, but it is just a lot of fun to listen to, and it gets better on repeat, which is so crazy to me. Like not a lot of songs just keep getting better, but like this one does.
I get that so much.
My mom just texted me that we're fostering baby kittens right now, and one of them escaped the room, and my whole family upstairs, I just hear thudding because they're trying to
heard them.
The kitten really wants to talk about 6th Street.
She just texted me.
The kitten's a stan of the film.
Yeah.
Tim, what are your thoughts on girls?
I mean, everyone said everything. I would just echo everything. I love punk rock. I'm a punk rocker at heart. It is my thing. for sure. I lean a little bit more towards like hard punk, so that's why. Huh?
I missed the Mohawk, Tim.
Yeah,
That's too long.
It's too long right now. I need to cut it. It's too long to spike right now. But so that being saying, I lean a little heavier towards another song that might be coming up next. But I love this song. I think if I remember correctly, this is like the opening number they play for their show at the high school, right? And that makes sense. I mean, it's like a song you get the crowd like, you're like, hey, this is us, and then the crowd's like, yeah, we're in, man, we're sold. And I mean, it's just really fun. It's that pop punk feel. I'll date myself and say my pop punk anthem was probably "Damn It" and "Man Overboard," Blink-182. But I'm also a giant MXPX fan. And
we've talked about this.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm like a huge MXPX fan. They're my entire
You hit my soul.
I could plug another show on the album, the most recent Front Center Mezzanine. Our guest was Gerard Canonico, who is the lead singer in a Blink-182 cover band. Right. So you should definitely check out his stuff. They're awesome.
He started following me on Instagram, and I cried for like 10 minutes. I was out. I was like,
if you didn't watch the show, you should, because it was such a great interview. Went for like 2 hours and talked about like from his childhood all the way up till now. It was awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
So I didn't say it, but it is a rocking.
Awesome.
I don't have any hard rockings.
Also,
sadly.
Chris, is that a Meatloaf thing behind you? Because Meatloaf is my favorite artist of all time.
What? His favorite person.
Oh my God. Okay, Max. We're gonna
on this show.
Okay, Max, we're gonna talk because
Chris is the lead singer of a Meatloaf cover band.
He is better than Meatloaf. He does Meatloaf better than Meatloaf does.
He does Meatloaf better than Meatloaf does. I really do.
What's your favorite Meat song?
My favorite Meat song definitely has to be, off of like "Welcome to the Neighborhood."
Is it Where the River Meets the Road or Original Sin?
No, I really like Not a Dry
on House. Act 1, the story's just begun, and Act 2, I fell in love. Okay, we're loafing out right now, guys. Sorry.
Holy shit. Loafing out. Like all-time favorite. I know it's so cliche, but
Paradise.
Those high notes at the end of Bat.
Oh, the C's, the 3 C's. Yeah.
My voice teacher and I have been working towards those, and I finally got to a C today. So
those high notes are hard. We have to transpose that down to E minor, or like 2 steps down from the F. It's ridiculous. Yeah, we'll get into that. Okay, we're on a tangent.
Oh
my God.
You have made Chris's entire life.
Yeah, my favorite Meat song is "Objects in the Rearview Mirror." But
I was gonna say that.
Because it's great. Yeah, we're geeking out. Where are we at? Okay.
We're transitioning to Brown Shoes.
Tim, what do you brown nose? Go for it. Oh my God, brown shoes! Oh my God, brown shoes! Yeah. Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
That's literally the opposite of what the song is.
That's the opposite of this song.
That's the opposite. Oh God.
As I said, I lean more towards like the hard, like angsty punk. And while this song isn't like a hard, like core punk song or anything, but it's got those more like kind of like empowering like lyrics to it, like kind of like the "fuck the man" lyrics, which is what I appreciate. I have a playlist on Spotify called "Vote Them Out," and it's all angry political music. And if you want to listen to that, listen to it. It's got a lot of anti-flag. Anyways,
it's a good playlist. I was listening to it the week leading up to the election because it's what we needed.
But anyways,
PJ's so right about Everything Louder Than Everything Else. That song is
that's a banger. We need to do a Meatloaf show at some point. But go for it. Yeah.
So this is the song. This is the song that is still like right now. I'm like crying on the inside that I didn't have it as my hard rocking because it was between this and To Find You that were just constantly swapping. If I could have 3, this would be a hard rockin'. I love this song. I think this song is great. It speaks to me. It speaks to my essence. It speaks to everything about me. And I really love the bridge as well. The bridge is really great in this song. And it's awesome.
And it's technically like, I know we have one more to go, but this is basically the closing number of the entire film. And again, this harkens back to what my rules are for this show. If it closes something out, and this does close the narrative of the band itself out, not the narrative of the film itself, but it does close, and it's really upbeat. And it's really feel good. Like this whole kind of like movie is very kind of feel goody, and I really just like how uplifting it feels. And I just feel like the music and everything, how it kind of just gives you a good send off, even though we get one with Adam Levine in a couple when we get to that one. So it's just rocking easy. Kristen. Oh, you good?
Yep. I'm muting because I don't want people to be distracted by.
No, it's all good.
We're fine.
We love
Everything's
John.
fine here. How are you?
It could be worse. He could be powerlifting.
Yeah.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Jesus. Okay, so this I think shows like the final evolution, right? Like this is their final rebellion going against everyone who's put them down, and this is where they like start thriving, right? Like this is just so much fun. Like I literally cannot listen to this song and like sit down. Like I'm listening to it right now. I'm having a really hard time sitting down because it is a jam. Like it is just a lot of fun to listen to. It has a lot of that Tim Franco rebellion, and like they finally learned who they are and what they want to be, and it's just them proving themselves. Like we don't care what you think, like this is us. Like I love it. It's such a cool message, and it's a 5. I wish we could make everything 6s.
Yep.
But it's a 5.
Yeah, but that ain't rules. No, but that's great. Jen.
Oh yeah, this is a rockin' for me. Fight the power. This is like it's one of those just perfect climaxes of everyone just wants to stand up and cheer and just like bop along to it. But I really appreciate like how clever the lyrics are. Like it's very tongue in cheek, because it's called Brown Shoes, and there's like how many idioms and references can we make to feet and shoes and everything, and everyone hits for me, and they just works really well. And yeah, I think Tim mentioned the bridge before. I just love like you're stuck in the past, I'm right in the future, and they pull it out, and it's just like it's so great, and it just encapsulates the entirety of teenage rebellion, and it's just a joy to listen to. So yeah, it's a definite rockin' for me.
Maxwell, what are your thoughts on this?
Okay, so I didn't go to a Catholic school because I'm not Catholic.
I did.
But I did
Wait a second, you're not?
It's well documented that I'm a proud Jew. But I did go to a private prep school. We did have to wear uniforms. We had like an academic dean who was very strict, who would come around with a ruler, and if your hair as a man was below a certain length, you got in trouble. And I was very much not that person, right? Like I wanted to wear my musical t-shirt or my Fall Out Boy or System of a Down t-shirt and dye my hair and wear eyeliner and be queer and say, fuck the system. So this song to me is like everything that I was in high school is like emblemized in this tune. This is the song where the band finds their identity, like you said. They are a punk band. They start as 80s pop synth, and they're good at it, but they thrive as a punk band. And this is a perfect pop punk tune. I wish I had a 4th 6 out of a 10, but I love the little guitar part it starts with. It sounds so much like what you would want to hear on like an early Green Day album or Blink-182 or any of those bands,
For sure.
or even Sum 41, who weren't the best, but were still playing in that sandbox. What was that?
I like Sum 41.
Yeah, I like them.
Yeah.
I didn't love them as much as some of the others.
Fat lip, it slaps.
Yeah, they put out some great stuff. It's just awesome, and it's so fascinating doing this to like you can really track the evolution of the sound of the band. And part of me wishes we could hear more songs that they would make, because I know they would rock so hard. They would be awesome.
Sing Street 2, make it happen.
Like they would just go like full like super like Clash punk and like
I feel like that's what they would do.
That's what this was going to, yeah.
Clash is my favorite band.
So Max, I'm gonna go. What are your thoughts on Brown Shoes before we get into the last song?
Yeah, so Brown Shoes is my second favorite song after Up. I am an avid punk fan. there's this record store here in Lancaster called Angry Young and Poor, and it's just punk records, and I go there constantly. So when we first sat down and we played the there we go. So like when we were doing that, it was just, and then but it's so just like, so
juicy.
This is a hard rocking for me. This is my other 6. I love this song. Here's actually a rehearsal picture of us doing Brown Shoes. As you can see,
awesome.
I'm actually wearing my Bat Out of Hell shirt.
That's awesome.
That picture.
I'm Henry Rollins vibes right there.
That's awesome, bud.
But it's so cool. And no, there was this. I have another theater fail if you guys want to hear it. So the stage is basically set up. So like if you're the audience, it's set up like this: benches, and then like the wall in the back. So I was on one of the benches on the furthest down stage you could go, and during that, you're stuck in the past, I'm riding in the future. So on that future, I jump off the bench. But one night, we did a music video shoot in the morning, and then we had a show that night. So I was drained. So I severely miscalculated my trajectory, and I just launched myself into the stratosphere. I think I got like 10 feet of air. And as I was flying, I was like, oh, I'm not landing on my feet. So I was more concerned as to what am I going to do with this $1,000 guitar that I have on my stomach right here. So as I was in the air, I rolled around to my back, landed on my back, and strumming under taking you down. But I had to get to my position for the headbang line at the end of the song, which is across the stage. So I was like, what do? I can't just get up because there's moving set pieces right now. So I just army crawled on my back across the stage. And luckily I made it in time, but it was right as the headbanging started. So I got up and I was like, yeah, boots on the other foot now. But it was,
that's punk rock right there. That's what that is.
That is the most vibe thing I've ever heard.
It's so vibe.
So much fun. And we all dressed as like famous musicians for that one. So my original iteration of my costume was I was Paul McCartney in his Sgt. Pepper getup, and then we transposed that to, of course, and this is me musician mind talking. I meant transformed, but I said transposed. But then I actually ended up in my show costume for the run at New York Theater Workshop was my Sting Street gray pants, this like meshy see-through black button down, a leather vest, and a cowboy hat. Originally, they gave me these little round spectacles, and then our costume designer was like, oh, no, you look like the Nazi from Raiders of the Lost Ark. So he got rid of those. But so then I rocked the Johnny Cash look for that song, and we got glitter underneath of our eyes, and it didn't come off for days. So this song has got to be a favorite of mine. I absolutely adore this song with all of my heart, and yeah, it's a hard rockin' for me.
Because I got to see it at New York Theater Workshop as an audience member, I found it so cathartic, and you could just see the joy on the cast's face. Like obviously the characters are experiencing that, but it was so clear. And I got to sit in the front row, and what's cool about New York Theater Workshop is the front row was level for this piece, was basically level with the stage. They had a very, very low stage.
So I got to run past you.
Yeah. So I felt like I was like in it with them. The way it was staged was so cool and fun.
Yeah, in Brown Shoes, I enter from the audience. I storm in through the audience with my guitar because my character is very scared of Brother Baxter. So this was a big just like, fuck you, dude. So then as I'm running through the crowd, I actually make a right and run through the audience first row across the length of the stage. And I got some very interesting looks from people not expecting me to do that. People, I like to call it the great leg dart. So people would sit with their legs out, and as I was running by, like they would
do that. Yeah, because in the front row you had a lot of leg space between the row and the stage, and then you see the actors like, oh, I got to tuck my legs in.
Yeah. No, one night somebody didn't, and I had to do like a hurdle jump over them. And I was like, yeah, you've had your time in the sun.
And then, of course, I did Endlings at New York Theater Workshop after you guys, and we put a swimming pool on the stage.
That was insanely incredible. I
don't know how we did.
Yeah, I mean, me and the Sing Street cast, some of us got offered free tickets to go and see the show, and of course I said yes. And I sat down, and then Brennick was sitting behind me, and who sits next to me but Andrew Lloyd Webber.
Oh my God!
So I start losing my mind, and it turns out that the coordinator at New York Theater Workshop put me there because she knew I would freak out and become a fanboy.
Holy shit!
So Brennick leans behind me and he goes, "Breathe in and breathe out, mate," and then just sucks it back in, and I'm like, "Thanks, man."
Oh my God!
That's amazing.
I mean, if you're gonna name drop.
Yeah,
do it. You gotta go full Andrew Lloyd Webber.
He was a worthy one.
Holy crap!
Oh yeah, it was insane. I literally that's the thing is even though I'm in Sing Street on Broadway, I still fanboy when I see people that I look up to. Like when we performed at Broadway Con and we were in the green room, I was just having flashbacks to little 13-year-old me sitting listening to Something Rotten, and then seeing Christian Borle right there and being like, "Oh, hello, sir. Nice to meet you." But so yeah, cool. I mean, Endlings was so incredible, and I love that show so much.
Max, I'm just going to go right into this. You said that Go Now is performed actually in the actual show itself, and Go Now is performed by Adam Levine. I want to ask you two things. What is the difference between this and the show, and your thoughts on the Adam Levine version?
Yeah, so I love the Adam Levine version. I think he's an incredibly talented singer. I know he and Carney are good friends. I think he does a beautiful job in the film. Gus, on the other hand, though, he does a fucking immaculate version of it. He is literally my spiritual guidance through this show. He calms me down whenever I get super stressed about something. He's just the sweetest human being on earth. And we all get our guitars out and we play. And that build up during that but when Anthony, our drummer, comes in on that kick drum, because I was right next to the drum booth for that, or not the drum booth, we actually had a moving drum platform, but I was right next to it before we all rush out on stage. So I would be next to him and I would just feel the ground vibrating as we were picking up, and I would it was just the most cathartic thing, because even though the glitter was in my eye and I was sweating up a storm and I was but it was just the coolest thing in the world. And it's so incredible. The song, I love the song. If I could have given it another 6 out of 5, I would. But alas, Brown Shoes has taken my heart. But no, I love Go Now. This song is another one I play for my girlfriend, and it makes her cry. Awesome. And then I feel so bad afterwards. I'm like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, you didn't cry. But yeah.
Tim, what are your thoughts on Go Now?
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. It's a beautiful ending to the movie. Taking us to the end of this point of Cosmo's journey, and the future is looking up for him and Rapina. So yeah, I mean, I just think it's a beautiful song, and if you're not crying by the end of it, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Yeah, the scene itself. I love Adam Levine's voice, and this song really, as you said, in the stage show. Now that I know what the context is, and his brother singing that as he's leaving, I wish he did that in the film, because yes, it does work as kind of like the Phil Collins kind of thing in Tarzan, where it's a song that's just background to kind of give you the emotion. If it was actually performed, but then again, it wouldn't have made sense, because then it's not diegetic. So I mean, it wouldn't have made sense for the film itself. But I feel like I wish that was still there, or some resonance of it. But it still has a powerful emotion, and it is a rockin' for me too. It ends the actual film on a very well note. And a lot of optimism, because they're going to London now. Kristen.
Yeah, so this if I had more sixes, this would have been a really easy 6. And I feel like if we were judging the Broadway version, it would be a 6 because I think that my biggest criticism is that it's a song that's meant to be sung from the brothers' perspective, but in the film it's not sung by the brothers' perspective. So like because in Broadway it is, like that's just perfect to me. But yeah, it's just a really great song. This is a song that I think transforms this movie from a story about teenage romance and teenage, acceptance of themselves and figuring out who they are into a story that transcends that and becomes something so much bigger because this isn't just a story about, young people finding out who they are. This is a story about all of us finding out who we are. And so the song from the brothers' perspective is like, I didn't follow what I wanted to do. I didn't follow my dreams. I was too scared of failing. You go do this, like find out who you are. Like, it doesn't matter if you fail. It doesn't matter if things are difficult or, if you don't succeed right away, go on, be wrong. Like that line is like everything. Like as soon as that happens, I'm just like dead bawling. Like that this song does not shy away from the harsh realities of following your dreams. Like I think that that's one of the most important things about this movie as a whole. Like it's a hopeful movie. Like it's meant to be there to make you feel good and to feel like you can kind of go out and do your own thing and be who you're meant to be and really achieve things. But there's also this ending that really shows you the realities of that. And it's not going to be easy and it's not going to be without fear and it's not going to be without failure, but you are not doing it alone. And you have to try, right? You have to go out there. You have to put yourself out. You have to try and achieve what you want or else you're just not doing it. Right. Like it's just such a powerful song. It has such an amazing message and it's what makes this movie, I think, really speak to people the way that it does. I think that once you hear the song, it changes the whole movie. And it's another song that ends without resolution. And I think that, I know it's different in the Broadway version. It resolves itself in the Broadway version. In the movie, it does not. And I think that really just reaffirms that failure isn't a bad thing. Like, you cannot achieve anything if you don't try. And if you fail, you just pick yourself back up and keep trying. And I mean, from my life now, I know I'm talking a lot. I'm really sorry. From my life now,
you're
like
gold. Keep going.
Yeah, from my perspective.
Stop it with your beautiful poetic nonsense.
I'm so sorry. Raising a child, you literally have to tell them when you don't do something right. I'm so proud of you that you tried. I'm so proud of you that you tried. I know that you didn't get it right. I know it's frustrating, but you just pick yourself back up and try again. And that's what it is. And it's something that adults forget so easily. Yeah. Like when we face failure, we're just like, okay, I'm done. Like I can't do it anymore. But like you have to keep trying. And I love this song. It literally, I have it on repeat when I'm feeling down, and it just kind of, it just really speaks to my soul in very meaningful ways. So I wish I gave it a 6. I really do. It's just so perfect. Oh no! What have I done?
Okay, Kristen, this is why I have you on.
Our audience cry is what you did. BCD over here is like, you made me cry. It's so heartfelt.
I'm sorry.
Keep it up. That's the good stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
We like vulnerability over here.
That's true. Okay.
That's why I have you on the show as much as I do, Kristen. Did you give it a rating?
I gave it a 5.
A 5, okay.
But if I can give a third 6, it would be this one.
Okay, cool. Jen.
I gotta follow that. Ditto.
Yeah.
Ditto to all of that. But yeah, just to piggyback off of everything that Kristen said, I totally agree that from like the song itself is gorgeous. It wraps up the entire message of the film, and I gonna go a little different direction. In terms of the movie version, it's kind of been said that like, oh, it's a little bit different because we've been hearing all of these songs from the characters themselves, and then to jump into all of a sudden Adam Levine, it is a little bit of a disconnect for me, just because this is clearly, it is a song that is from the heart of the brother, and I forget his name in the film, whatever. But yeah, like Brendan, thank you. But yeah, Jack Raynor's character, like that's the thing that really struck me the first time I watched the film. Like he has the speech where he hits that line of "I was a fucking jet engine," and that like pierced my heart. Like that was so, just to hear this song like from that kind of perspective is gorgeous. But I feel like Adam he's a great singer, clearly, but it's just a little too clean for the emotion that has been building throughout this entire film. So like I know like I'm a big fan of Once, and it is kind of a similar feel to it of like it's unknown exactly what's going to happen, but you're going to try, and it's going to be your dream. You're going to try because you need to, because this is what happens when you don't. And because I'm such a big fan of Once, I really, really, really want to hear a cover from Glenn Hansard, because I feel like I would absolutely adore it. And I went searching, and it doesn't exist. And I can't believe it doesn't exist, because I think he had a lot to do with this film too. So I'm surprised. Yeah, so
he did.
Who wrote this song?
Yeah, so I'm like, it has to be out there somewhere, and I want to hear it because I feel like it'll break my heart. But having said that, the Broadway version it would be another 6 out of 5, because that's exactly what I wanted from it in the film, and I didn't quite get it because of Adam. Like, you want the star power, and he clearly he wrote the song, like he helped write it and everything. So kudos to him. But yeah, it just a little bit off in terms of just the emotion that I know is there potentially in the song, and then clearly it hits it in the Broadway show. So I cannot wait to see this show. So everybody wear a mask.
Yeah.
Please. Yes, please.
Yes.
Maxwell, I'm sorry I have to follow both Kristen and Jen.
Okay, so I have a lot of feelings about this song. So off the bat, I will say I think compositionally, lyrically, musically, it is gorgeous. Everything Kristen and Jen said is absolutely on point. And this song, I've accomplished a lot that I'm very proud of, but there were times I still have incredible imposter syndrome. For what I've done. I don't ever feel like I belong. Like what Max was saying about Broadway Con, the fact that I know a lot of these people, I have meetings with them, I work with them, I call them, is mind-blowing to me. And so sometimes I will listen to this song to remind me that it's okay to be afraid because you're going after what you want. And I think that's a really pertinent reminder. I was saying earlier, you got to shoot your shot, because the worst that can happen is you're exactly where you started. If you never shoot, you never ask, you're never gonna get further.
Yep.
What I will say is I'm not a huge fan of Adam Levine's voice. So,
that's fine.
And I agree with Jen that there's a disconnect between what I think he's better at, like for me, the best Maroon 5 album was their first album. Was it Songs in the Key of Jane?
Yep.
Where I think they really had a unique sound. It was sort of like funky, jazzy, and pop. And as they've gone on and they've just become more of like a basic pop band, I don't think they've done what they're good at. So when I saw, what's up, Chris? When I saw what they did with the stage version, where they had the older brother sing the song, and then as it goes on, sort of the rest of the cast slowly joins them, and this chorus builds, I was bawling.
Yeah.
And I will say this, with all due respect to Max and the entire Sing Street cast, and I think everyone in the show gives an incredible performance and was so perfect. It was such a great ensemble. To me, Gus Halper gives an awards-worthy performance in the show.
I agree completely.
Was like the bright, shining star. As great as Brennick is, Gus to me was the underlying heart of the show, and his performance of this song is breathtaking. And of all the tracks, this is the one to me that is unequivocally superior on the Broadway album and in the show. And it's a shame, because if they had figured out a way to make it better in the film, it would have been, I mean, the ending is incredible and it's a great song, don't get me wrong. But I really think the stage show nailed the ending and perfectly nailed this song. So for the film, I give it a 4. But as a song, I would give it a 6 if I had another one. So it's a little bit of a disconnect, but gosh.
And that kind of leads us into the next part, is the differences between the film and...
Did Max talk about the song? I can't remember.
Yeah,
he did. He was the first one who did. Yeah, I
Sorry, we all
transitioned
talked so long, I forgot.
Yeah, no, I almost did too. But yeah, Broadway differences. I'm gonna throw it to you, Max. Max, what are some of the differences in the Broadway version compared to the film version that you wish were in the film, and any certain songs in particular that we didn't get to talk about that are exclusive to the stage?
Yeah, I mean, if you listen to our cast album, there's this one song on it called "Dream for You," and that is Connor's like Act 2 version of "Up" in a way. So that song "Dream for You" is just a tugs at the heartstrings. It's actually what landed Gary Clark the job to write Sing Street. He submitted this song. So he submitted to John Carney "Dream for You." And John Carney was like, "Hey, do you actually just want to write the whole movie?" And he was like, "Yeah."
Okay.
So, it was incredible, and I really wish that was in the movie. But our director was saying that she actually made a promise to Gary that if she did the musical, she would include "Dream for You," and it fits into the show seamlessly, just like a puzzle. And it's just such a fun song to perform. You know, I think the main difference between the Broadway version and the film version is that the Broadway version, I feel it really does feel like it's from the minds of, teenagers. The songs and the singing style and the arrangement style is very teenager-like, but in the best possible way. It's so true to the, nature of the film, and so true to all the theories that are acquainted with teenagers. I mean, my character in the show deals with imposter syndrome and social anxiety, and as do I in my daily life. I'm severely socially anxious. I had to give myself like a 10-minute pep talk before coming on here. But I, it's something that's just so incredible that, my character can tap into that. And it really is, everybody always says that if you look at who is the most like their character in Sing Street, I am literally Darren, to the point where in my audition, I think it was like one of my first or second callbacks for the role, and I was only ever called back for the role of Darren. So there's this one scene where Darren gives Connor a business card and goes, "Oh yeah, Darren Mulvey, business solution. Your problem is my solution." And our director, Rebecca, was like, "Oh, does anybody in the audition room have a business card?" And I pulled out my own from my production company. And she was like, "I was going to cast you." And I was like, "Yeah." So I love this show so much. I could not be – I always say, like, I have my catchphrase, which is I'm just happy to be here. I'm just so unbelievably excited that I get to be, a part of this incredible Broadway company. And especially – Broadway's always been a dream of mine. And the fact that I'm accomplishing it at 17 is still just mind-blowing.
Ridiculous, awesome.
Yeah, I still don't even believe it at this point. Like, it's incredible. It's still insane. But, it's just the coolest thing in the world. And I'm so lucky because it's, introduced me to people like you guys. And it's so incredible that I get to, like, come on here and talk to you guys. It's literally so much fun.
It's awesome, but it's just a great. Happy for you, Maxwell. What are your thoughts on the differences between Broadway? If you have anything to add.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're very different mediums, and there's been a lot of films, especially the last decade, that make the jump from film to stage. Of course, this automatically has a heads up because the movie is a musical to begin with, but there's just something about the immediacy of seeing the songs performed live, and the fact that much like the stage adaptation of Once, there's no band or pit. It's all the actors playing the songs. I think is such a perfect choice. And then you add on that they're all young kids, like Max is 17, playing the guitar and the synth and everything on stage. It just is this whole other layer that like brings out the punkness of it and the youthful exuberance to the next level. I love all the added songs. I think some of the relationships are even deeper, like between the brothers on stage, I think is even more profound. And it really, because of the ending where he gets to sing the song, is really what like makes that so beautiful. I love the film. I think they work so great together, but I thought it was such a successful adaptation and I've heard they're making some significant changes in between Off-Broadway and Broadway. We had PJ and I had Annelle Nathan on our show, Front Center Mez, and she basically spilled the beans about how they basically reworked the entire show in 6 weeks.
Oh yeah, we did. Yeah, it was the coolest thing because we literally ended our
fast. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, we literally ended our run at New York Theater Workshop, and then we came back for our first rehearsal in 2 weeks,
which is mind blowing. To get 6 weeks of rehearsal in between productions is unheard of, and then in that 6 weeks to basically like rewrite the book and start from. So I'm so excited to see what the Broadway version is, because it can only get better, I think.
Awesome.
And yes, listen to the cast recording. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple Music. I bought it on iTunes.
Really good.
It's so good. The songs we love are even better because I think they took the orchestrations to the next level. And it's so good.
Cool.
And yeah, that "Dream for You" song is just, it's like,
and I love the opening song too. Just Can't Get Enough.
Oh yeah,
which is so fun and catchy and is not really in the movie. So
no, I mean it's a Depeche Mode song, so it's so fun. It's so fun to do, and they gave me this little like rickety Casio keyboard to be playing on.
That's awesome. Kristen, Jen, or Tim, have you guys listened to the musical on the Broadway? If you have any differences that you would want to discuss, Kristen?
I think Max and Maxwell have covered it for me. Like, I'm not as familiar with the Broadway version just because Spotify search UI is really awful. And so whenever I searced for it, it never showed up.
Okay.
So I listened to the Broadway version. Yeah, I listened to the whole thing with Cara. My secret rating for Suddenly Soundtracks now are going to be, did Cara let me listen to it?
And did
and she did. And when I started listening to the Broadway version, we reached sing-along Cara levels. So she was like mumbling the song with me. So that was really cute. So this has passed the Cara test.
It gets the Cara seal of approval.
It's passed the 2-year-old test, so we're doing good, guys.
Tim, I'm gonna throw it to you. What are your overall thoughts on the record? What would you give the record overall, and what's your favorite song and your least favorite song?
So I mean, I think it's incredible. I love it. I love it so much. I haven't listened to the entire of the Broadway, so I'm excited to do that because I really want to dive into it. I'll probably be doing that the rest of this week. I'll be listening to that a lot. But yeah, I mean, this soundtrack is amazing. I loved it when I first saw the movie. I've loved it ever since. I mean, kind of laid it all out over the last 2 hours why we love it and why I love it. So I am going to do something a little different though. So I gave my 2 hard rock-ins to Drive It Like You Stole It and To Find You. However, I'm going to say my favorite song. I'm going to follow my heart and go Brown Shoes.
Okay.
Because I'm going to follow my heart.
That way you can get that in there.
And my least favorite, I guess, I don't know. I guess I'm gonna say the Joe Jackson song.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, because it is on the soundtrack.
I'll
let it go. It's fucking fine. Jen, what are your overall thoughts on everything? What do you get?
Yeah, like it was really hard not to just go rocking across the board here. But yeah, like just to throw in a little variety, I never went below a download. But having said that, I kind of cheated because now that I sat down and I listened to the Broadway soundtrack, the ones that were downloads, when I listened to them, they ended up being like hard rockins in my mind. So clearly I'm going to love the Broadway show. So I'm very excited to see it when we get back to reality and everything. Up will always be, I think, my big takeaway from this musical, just because it was that instant connection. But like as we were talking here, like I went back and forth on Drive It Like You Stole It and Girls and Brown Shoes, and it's like it's really hard. It's really hard to pick a favorite, and it's really like in the moment. It's whatever's playing is my favorite essentially. But yeah, like it's amazing that even things that I wasn't the biggest fan of when I sat down and listened to the Broadway, like they became, all of a sudden it clicked. So clearly there's an amazing musical arrangement here, and just the emotion behind it is beautiful and I think universal in its message. And yeah, everyone, including PJ Campbell, they need to go and watch it. So
Yes.
Yeah, especially
Seriously,
PJ.
man.
Actually,
Campbell.
PJ Campbell. Yeah, I don't think it's streaming anywhere right now. I was so excited to like sit down and watch it again, and then it had been on Netflix for like years, and then the minute I wanted to sit down and watch it, it was gone.
PJ,
So
Yeah, exactly.
for a movie trivia show or something.
yeah, I don't remember any questions being asked about Sing Street. I don't think so. Just saying. Just saying.
Nope. Kristen, your overall thoughts.
Yeah, I just
And your favorite.
adore. I adore the soundtrack. I think that I mean, there's very few soundtracks that I think are basically perfect, and I feel like this is one of them. I mean, I love Once. It's one of my favorite overall soundtracks, but this tops it. Like, that's crazy to me because that's ridiculous. But it's just really good overall, like everything about it. So, my favorite is Drive It Like You Stole It. It's an eternal bop. It will be an eternal bop forever. Like it will last the test of time. That song is just so much fun. And like I don't like least like what is that?
Okay, that's your answer. That's
There
your
are
answer.
there are no skips. Like it's yeah.
There's not. Yeah, I think you're right. This is one of the most solid soundtracks ever for Suddenly Soundtracks for me. I give it a solid rock. And my favorite, obviously, is To Find You. Probably would be my favorite. It's beautiful and it's a great vocal piano ballad. And my least favorite, unlike everybody else, is Girls. I know. I'm a terrible human being, and
It's
so sorry.
complicated.
It's complicated. I'm canceled. So I'm gonna go over to Maxwell. Maxwell, what are your overall thoughts on the soundtrack itself?
It's pretty much a perfect soundtrack. I mean, there's not a single bad song on it, not even close. It's exuberant, it's joyous, it has emotional moments. It's amazing, and I think the Broadway album is even better. A favorite, I don't know. I guess Drive It Like You Stole It, but it would be like picking a favorite of my dogs. It's impossible.
And there's no least favorite, probably.
I don't have a least. I mean, I guess of the ones we talked about, the reprise of
That's fair.
of Up, just because
It's not a standalone.
yeah, but
You're finding something.
I'll listen to it any time.
Yeah. Max, what is your favorite song? Your least favorite song? Your overall thoughts on the soundtrack itself?
Yeah, I mean, like I've said before, I'm definitely a little biased.
A little bit.
But no, I love this record. The Broadway album will hold a very special place in my heart for as long as I live because it's the first broadcast album I've ever sung on. But overall, I think just because of the impact it's had on my life, both personally and professionally, my favorite song has got to be Up.
Totally acceptable.
I love that song. It's every single time I think about performing that song with the cast, I always tear up because it just makes me so happy. And then also thinking about just like me playing that song for the people in my life, like, Lane, making her tear up while I sing that. And, even like my parents and my friends and stuff. It's just the coolest thing. I guess my least favorite song would have to be the Up bedroom mix just because of Tapegate.
Good answer.
Good answer.
I have some memories associated with that. But overall, I just love this album and I love this show.
Yep, and that would be that, guys. That's all the songs from Sing Street. So I'm going to go around the board. Before I do that, actually, Maxwell, let's take it home. Let's tell everybody what's coming up, and then we'll get out of here.
Absolutely, yeah. Real quick, as I said, tomorrow night we're re-airing the Family Feud Inner Geekdom edition that was part of the Smash-a-thon. Currently, because the Smash-a-thon was so long, it's not available to watch anymore. So this will be the only way to watch it again, or if you missed it, I highly recommend it. It's a ton of fun. And Mike Kalinowski's anger brought me great joy.
It was great.
Friday, we're doing a double feature watch along of Trading Places and Coming to America. Because it's a double feature, we're going to start an hour earlier at 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern. Saturday, I don't have the thumbnail, but we do our Mandalorian recap show at noon Pacific, 3 Eastern. Saturday night, we may be doing our patron AMA. So if you're not already a patron, there's still time to sign up. And of course, again, thank you to all of our Patreon producers. We would not be here and could not do this without you. The Sunday Unwind has some very special guests. We're joined by movie gods. I said it intentionally this time. The movie guys, Paul Preston and Adam Witt. I'm super excited to hang out with them, talk to them about the Smash-a-thon, that bootleg match we did, and just, chill and unwind like we do. That's our most casual and relaxed show. And Monday, we're doing a watch-along of Elf, which is going to be super fun at our normal time. And there's some fun stuff coming up with Suddenly Soundtrack, right, Chris?
Yes, there is. I'm going to actually play a little clip. I know. Basically, this is what happened when Smets is going to be joining them. So stay tuned 1 sec. Kevin, what are your thoughts on the 2 reprises of the finale?
I love them. They're, like I said, more of the same. I think one movie or musical that did reprise great is Scrooge the musical. If you ever do Scrooge the musical, have me on. It's
we're gonna actually do a new version of that in December with Alonzo Giraldo. If you want on, we'll do that.
Oh yeah, let me know. I mean, I really want to see that on Broadway or whatever. I don't know.
Someone should do. That's the one you love, right, Chris?
Scrooge is my favorite Christmas musical.
Someone should do it that really loves it, because you had me and Jen on that one, and we were just like.
Kristen, what are your final thoughts on Scrooge?
Now, there's just a little too much cheese at times.
The songs are great. Some of the songs are very, very, very catchy. Like, once I listened to it, that was my day the next day. I hate kids. Yeah, that's what I learned. God bless everyone except for you little British children that sing.
The reprise was the Thank You Very Much song was like, I just hate, you know what, I had a time where I started listening to Christmas music for my job at like August. So I have an interesting relationship with Christmas music.
That's brutal.
But Thank You Very Much was like one of the songs I really liked from that movie. So.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. That's the nicest thing that anyone's ever done for me. The future looks so right. In fact, it looks so bright. I feel as if...
Yeah, that's it, guys. We're going to be doing Scrooge December 2nd, and the Cabal is all going to be watching it the night before, and that's going to...
No, we're called a Cabal.
Oh.
Our secrets have been revealed.
Oh
no! Now they're gonna think we're plotting to take over the world or something.
I mean, we are.
We are. So, we're gonna be.
I just have to say how much it brought me joy to see a younger Kristen and Jen be so cynical and salty. It was glorious.
Oh my god!
That was like 3 years ago, guys. That was like 3 years ago, guys. But anyway, that's gonna happen, and also the week after that.
You hate kids. Do you hate this kid?
That was before I had kids.
Yeah.
And, wow, I was mean in that episode.
Yep. And then the week after that, we're gonna be doing the Muppet Christmas Carol with the Warfather and Lon Harris. So there's a lot coming up. Yeah. So
Marley and Marley.
Their souls were painted black.
And I can't wait to hear what Max's thoughts on that compared to Scrooge. So that's going to be interesting. So so I'm going to throw it over to Kristen. Where can the good people find you online?
You can find me, as always, Smith_K10, the number, not the word, at Twitter, Instagram, and Stardust, even though I don't post anything on Stardust. And also on this network.
Tim.
You can find me on Twitter at tfranco84. Those numbers mean something. And apparently you can find alter egos of me that travel time on YouTube and on Twitter. So
I want the dominatrix.
I apologize for anything they do. I cannot be held accountable.
Yeah. Jen, where can the good people find you?
You will not find me on the Scrooge watch along complaining about British children, but you can find me on Twitter and Letterboxd, Jen Kemp at JK Meme Queen. I'm sorry, we really did lean into it.
We were so
he was so excited to share it,
it's
and
like
we were like
Chris's like favorite, and we were just like, I hate it.
It was great. Oh god, you guys should be on the watch along of it.
Oh, no.
Yeah, Maxwell, where can the good people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Cinemaxwell, Instagram at Cinemaxwell Inc. You could find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/MaxwellBoxRocks. That's BOXROX.
Yep.
Find me on the PJ Camel Network, and keep on sharing that hashtag Draft Maxwell, and we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, keep sharing that. Max Bartos. Max, I hope you enjoyed your time here on Suddenly Soundtracks. Where can the good people find you, bud?
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for having me. This was
Thank you.
You're rock star.
Great.
It was an amazing night, an amazing Wednesday. Well, now it's Thursday, but yeah, but no, you can find me on Instagram at Max_Bartos. And I'm also on Twitter, and it's just at Max Bartos, my name. And yeah, I mean, you can find me on Spotify. I released a single on there a little while ago, towards the beginning of quarantine. And I also just released a single with my band, and you can find us there. But yeah, no, you can find us on Spotify we're called the In Between, and we released a single called Death Has a Heart.
That's awesome.
So definitely take a listen. It's pretty awesome. But yeah,
we have a show coming up.
Oh yeah, no, I do have I have a benefit concert coming up. It's to benefit Avidum, which is a mental health organization. I've had my fair share of struggles with mental health in the past. So I just want to bring to light that, it's okay to not be okay. So all the proceeds from this event are going to go towards funding mental health education in schools and stuff.
That's right.
And yeah, and then also Sing Street, you can come and see me in that once we come back. Yeah.
That's awesome. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and Instagram at ChrisClark8788. Those numbers mean nothing. From Kristen, from Jen, from Maxwell, from Tim, from Max, and myself, I say to you as I get the Brandon up and all that jazz and stuff, keep...
Have Max play us out.
Oh, you know what? Yeah. Play us out, Max.
He's like, I put my guitar away.
way to make him do that.
What Sing Street you guys want to hear?
Oh.
You guys want to do Up?
Yeah, Up.
Yeah,
it's your favorite. Do it, and it's my favorite.
It's 2:00 on the edge of the morning. She's running magical circles around my head. I hitch her right on a dream she's driving. She turns to kiss me, I crash back into bed. Across the street on a grayed out Monday, I see the girl with the eyes I can't describe. And suddenly it's a perfect Sunday, and everything is more real than life. And then I'm back in the dream. I think I'm back on the ceiling. It's such a beautiful feeling going up. She lights me up. She breaks me up. She lifts me up. You find a mystery bound in perfection. You study read, but you don't want to reach the end. And suddenly then I'm back in the dream. I think I'm back on the ceiling. It's such a beautiful feeling going up. She lights me up. She breaks me up. She lifts me up. Up to the stars she shows me. Dame Street, Georgia Street, miles below me. Up where the world won't let us down. La 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 la. Going up, she lights me up. She breaks me up. She lifts me up.
Woo!
That was fucking awesome.
Wow.
Yeah, that was great, Max. So
thank you.
That was really awesome.
Thanks for coming, man.
Yeah. That was awesome, bud. So from Max, from everybody, we say to you, keep rocking. And let me actually see if I get this now. There we go.